Hi, my name is Levi Storks. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Missouri, and I run a program called Science on Wheels. Science on Wheels was born out of the fact that public engagement opportunities with science promote connection with the public in STEM, which has many positive outcomes. But these opportunities to engage with STEM are not evenly distributed across communities. Not everyone has the same access to public engagement in their community. And in Missouri, this is particularly the case with people living in rural communities. On this map, every black dot represents 100 people living in rural areas. So that's a major portion of our population. And these people, because of the lack of institutions in their communities or the lack of reach of programs to their communities, don't have as much access to STEM engagement as people living in cities or metropolitan areas. And Science on Wheels wanted to come in and try to change that. Science on Wheels is a program at the University of Missouri run entirely by graduate students and postdoctoral researchers with the mission of connecting Missouri citizens with scientists. We aim to, with that mission, promote awareness, interest, and support of STEM and university research in underserved Missouri communities, particularly focusing on rural communities, although we have expanded our focus recently. We also aim to humanize scientists or provide a human face to scientists through dialogue, having conversations, and diverse representation of what science can be. And we also aim to foster the development of engagement skills among the early career scientists that are participating in our programs, contributing to their future as engaged scientists. What does this look like? Here are some pictures of our programs. Science on Wheels travels to events around the state where we bring 3 to 6 speakers out who each give about a 5-minute presentation about their research they do at the university. These presentations don't use slides. They instead rely more on props because not everywhere we go has a projector. And we try to create them in an accessible, sort of casual atmosphere, relying heavily on story, and we also respond to questions and answers from the audiences before and after each presentation. These presentations can be at libraries, schools, senior living centers. We can have small audiences, we can have large audiences. Here is a picture of an event where we presented to 400 people just last month at a community event. They can be outside. There's many different ways that we can do Science on Wheels, but at its core are these bite-sized research presentations that we try to connect to the audience. How do we achieve this? Well, our framework here begins with identifying potential audiences that we want to access, and then partnering with community organizations that can get us in front of those audiences. Audience is very important for an organization like ours because we're trying to provide access to science, but it's not always clear which audiences need more access to science. So we approach it by being creative in how we're accessing different audiences with our programs. Furthermore, promoting standalone events is very difficult. It takes a lot of time, effort. It's especially difficult when you are not a member of the community that you're trying to access. So instead, we partner with places around the state to come in events or organizations that they are already part of or already running, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel and bring our own audiences in. We already have them set in place. At the same time, we're recruiting graduate and postdoctoral researchers to participate in our programs, and then we're training them how to speak to non-scientists. There's a lot of energy amongst these early career scientists to participate in outreach programs, but there's a major gap in graduate training on how to do this. There's very little programs that train scientists on how to speak to non-scientists. So we come in and we provide that training through an online workshop, which is then followed up by an in-person practice session that lets our speakers prepare that 5-minute presentation for our programs, making our programs really good, while also giving them the skills to participate in engagement in the future. Together, these converge to create those really valuable programs that I talked about earlier. From these programs, we hope to promote science capital in our audience members, giving them positive experiences with science that fit within their own values and experiences to hopefully give them a more positive perception of science, promoting positive outcomes later on, as well as developing public engagement skills within our speakers to hopefully make them contribute to public engagement in the future as well. Both of these targeting our mission here. Throughout this, we're trying to move from this outreach model where people are being talked at, where scientists talk to people about what their research is, and instead moving towards engagement. We're having conversations and dialogues about research and really listening to the questions of our audience. So far, this is our reach map of where we've had events. We were founded in 2017. I've had 24 events in 19 counties around the state and reached over 815 citizens, 600 of which were just this year. So we're really ramping up our energy, and we're really figuring out how we can do this really well in the context of spreading science around our state. If this is something you think you would want to talk more about and bring to your own institution, I would love to hear what you think. This is my contact information as well as the contact information for Science on Wheels, and I'd love to hear more from you. Thanks.